Okay, I think I am live. Let me try to break up my live chat here and see if I'm indeed live. Hello? Are you here? Are you seeing me? Hey, okay, cool. That is good. I don't know what happened. I tested this out yesterday. I did a preview stream, and maybe that's why it didn't work because I had the preview on and it somehow made things weird. But hey, it's live. That's cool. It's good. How's it sounding? Sounding good? Looking good? I guess there's a bit of a delay, so I have to wait for your responses here. Let me know how it sounds. Okay. So, what else could I see on here? Da, 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 da. I'm gonna have echoes. Okay, mute myself. Okay, cool. That is looking good. Everything's looking good. All right. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions from a few patrons first, and then I'll get to all the questions you guys are asking. So this one's from Kara, and she says, when I film, I try not to film people, well, at least not their face. If I haven't asked for permission, I wouldn't want to become in a random video without knowing. Do you find this to be an issue when filming, and how do you overcome it? I used to really worry about that. Not in Canada. I used to just kind of film anything and seem to be totally fine. And this is when I wasn't putting things on YouTube. I was just for, I guess, corporate business type work. And people were generally in the background. In Japan, I guess I heard a lot of concerns about privacy, and I heard some kind of bad stories about that. So I was very, very cautious. But I haven't really bumped into any issues. Generally, if people are kind of in the background, I don't worry, ask them if we're in a public space. If they're going to be prominently featured and you can actually tell who they are, I do ask them, especially people who are speaking to the camera, or that if I think there's anything that they're doing that would kind of seem they wouldn't want to be showing doing that, would be embarrassing for them. But if somebody's just walking around, nah, don't worry about it. And I haven't had any issues. Another question is, when filming, how do you know when you're overstepping your boundaries? I guess the same type of answer is that I do try to look at the signage, look at the situation, and just try to adhere to what's expected of people. So I try to be respectful of the places and of the situations. And I think if you're just generally polite about it, then you shouldn't have any problem. For example, I was filming a park, and then I don't know if it's a security guard or somebody who takes care, a park caretaker came to me and asked, "Hey, can you not film? There's kids around here." And I said, "Hey, no problem." I wasn't focusing on the kids. I had a pretty wide angle, and I was from pretty far away. But I said, "Hey, no problem. Like, I totally understand." And it was a very polite interaction. So I think that's probably one of the only times I've ever been approached about that. So no big. The Twitter link doesn't work. Yeah, maybe I'll just repost this video onto the Twitter link here. So let me just do that. Sorry. I'll reply to Matt. Reply to this. Sorry, that stream went bad. Here's the new link. Okay, so I put that on the Twitter. All right, this is from Chris. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people in the YouTube comments section have about the content in your guys' videos? There's almost too many misconceptions to talk about, so it's a tough question. Perhaps the biggest thing I can say is that when people assume things without asking, whether it's something positive or negative, and I can't always answer all the comments, but I try to if it's posted in the first day or two of when I release the video. And if someone is asking a politely and a genuine question, I do try to answer it. And the only reason I don't tend to answer after that 1 to 2 day period is because I like to try to focus my attention on the new videos, and reading comments from previous videos kind of distracts me from making new ones. So, but I think, I don't know, I guess because you're on, YouTube, on the internet, people kind of think sometimes you're not just a regular person, but we're just regular people, regular family. Our life is very, very average, and so nothing spectacular going on where we live. Okay, so let me see here. Let me answer some of these questions now. When I first came to Japan, what did I think? I first came to Japan in 2000, so it's 2018 now. So that's almost 18 years. It's it's a long time ago. It doesn't feel that long. It feels like I just came, but it's really been 18 years, and I thought it was just amazing. But I was coming to see my then girlfriend, so which is now my wife, and it was of course a happy time to see my then girlfriend at that time. So, but I thought it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. It was my first time traveling out across the Pacific Ocean to Asia. Had a great time. The kids are home from school, but they're playing with their friends. So, as I've said quite a few times in the videos, is that I only film the kids if they want to and if they have time. So every once in a while, the kids have popped in on a Q&A, but generally, I mean, they'd much rather play with their friends, and I totally don't blame them. I mean, what's funner, playing with your friends or talking to a camera, you know? Okay, let's see here. How do you think ethnic minorities like Chinese and Koreans are treated in Japan? That's a bit of a tough one for me to answer, because I guess I don't think I fall into that ethnic minority category. Although, interestingly, in Canada, I would fall under the ethnic minority category. I'm half Chinese. But in Japan, I believe most people think of me as just a Westerner. Probably more specifically, they'd think I'm American. I don't think many people would guess I'm Canadian, just off the bat. So unless I tell them. But for Chinese Korean, yeah, I mean, I'm not one, so I can't say. Yeah, but I mean to ask some Chinese Koreans specifically that question, and to get their responses. I mean, my gut feeling is that it kind of depends on how you are acting. So if you're acting in a way that is, I guess, in line with the Japanese culture, and whether it's the mannerisms. Why can't I pronounce mannerisms? There you go, mannerisms. The language you're using, just reading the situation. If you're acting like a Japanese person would, I think they treat you just like a Japanese person, is kind of my gut feeling. One of those things is that when I go to stores and stuff, I've heard other foreigners complain. Actually, this is on the internet, reading on the internet, that they don't get treated like a Japanese person, that they're often talked to in English, and if there's another Japanese person there, they'll often talk to that Japanese person instead of them. I find 99% of the time, like really vast majority of the time, people speak to me in Japanese. So I don't feel like I'm treated that differently, but maybe my level is not high enough where I don't perceive those types of things. So what projects are you up to these days? Wow, so many projects. I actually have two of them. One is about your first hour in Japan, how to survive it. And I thought it was going to be a quick video, like 5 minutes, but it ends up, I think it's like 17 or 18 minutes right now on the edit I have. So it's quite long. So 18 minutes on how to survive your first 60 minutes. But it's nearly done. So that should be out this week. And I have the last part of the Homeless series. And that's been kind of done for a while. I just have to do some double checks, but I kind of wanted to space out my videos to have some, I guess, lighter topics mixed with the heavier topics. So that's why I haven't released that one yet. Yeah. Do I have any other documentary-like projects planned for the future? Yeah, I do. I have a couple that I've shot already. So working in Japan. So I interviewed 8 people, I believe, about working in Japan. It won't be a complete. I'll call it a mini documentary, or I'm just talking to 8 people. It's such a broad subject that I'm just getting a few voices from Japanese people about what it's like working in Japan. My problem is I tend to get really, dig in and try to answer all the questions, and there's such big topics you're tackling that it's really tough to, especially if you're thinking about doing it in a single video. But yeah. Is this Patreon only? No, I guess if you're here, then it's no, it's not Patreon only. It's the public. But for paid people, I kind of, for the people who support at the kind of Q&A level, I give them first dibs on the questions, and then for the other patrons as well, I'll give them priority for the questions. But I mean, there's lots of time for questions for lots of people. So, can we ask questions here on Patreon? No, you can ask questions here, but I guess you probably figured that out by now. Lag. Oh no. That sucks. I don't know, because my speed is crazy good. I tested it before I even started the stream, and it's like 100 megabits per second upload. So that's quite a fast stream rate. So I don't know why I would be lagging. But maybe I'll try to cut down on other things my computer might be doing, and see if I can correct that a bit. But yeah, I guess my YouTube is saying variable resolution stream bad. I don't know, maybe I'll have to try another type of stream next time. Okay, where are we here? Ocarina in Japan. Ocarina. I don't know what ocarina is. Have to see. Do I have any plans on making a documentary feature in the future? Yeah, I'm looking into it. So I think that would be a pretty big plan of mine to do that. But I'll let you know if I have some more information on that later. Can I fix the video a bit? I wish I could fix the video, but I don't know what is wrong with the video and why it would be lagging. Let me just see if I can adjust any of these settings. But I think once you start, you're kind of hooped. Let me just see if I can throw up the bitrate a bit. I don't know if it'll actually adjust it or not, but we'll see. Oh yeah, that seems to be increasing the bit rate that I'm sending or encoding at. I don't really think it's doing much for you guys though. So, my CPU is at like 5%, so it's not taxing my CPU. My internet's fast, so I don't know where the issue is. Maybe it's just the stream I chose on Google or on YouTube wasn't good. But now it says my stream status is good, so who knows? Maybe it's getting better. Do I have any plans to start a travel vlog outside of Tokyo? I've been actually considering doing try to get out of the city like once a month and just film around. I guess that's kind of a travel vlog. That's more for honestly just more for me, just to get out and explore and learn a little bit more about Japan. I've been feeling like I've been just wanting to explore around the world and Japan a bit. So I don't know what kind of videos I'd make of that. How did I meet my wife? Yeah, maybe one day. But I need her permission to go into complete detail on that one. Were you stressed about making a living when you moved to Japan? Yes, that was probably my number one stressor in moving to Japan, was figuring out what to do. And I made a living online, so I was doing online business education because I have a business degree and business background. in Canada. And so I was doing that, and it worked out well for the years I was doing it. But that was something actually new to me. So before I had left Canada, I was producing videos like, I guess, almost as a freelancer, as my own company. And this is for corporate work, nothing to do with YouTube. And I was making a decent living doing that. So coming to Japan, not filming anymore, that was very, very concerning for me, I must say. But I guess after a few years, I realized it was working out, so it became less of an issue for me. But still, I mean, I don't have a stable job, so my income is always going up and down. I don't always know where the next paycheck is coming from. So, but I'm kind of used to that as well. Haven't run my own businesses in the past, but yeah, it can be concerning, that's for sure. Sensitive and complex topics like working culture and suicide. Do you plan on covering it? Yeah, working culture, suicide. I wrote something on my Patreon about suicide. I might cover it in a Life Where I'm From X video sometime. Yeah. Yeah. What were my first impressions of Japan? That is really hard question because that's 18 years ago now. I think it was so massive because I had come from Canada, and I mean, the Tokyo metropolitan area is the size of Canada itself, so it's so many more times the size of Canada. One thing that I was surprised about, though, was when I was walking around, I thought it'd be a lot more crowded than it really was. Even going to popular places like, Shinjuku or something like that, I thought I would just be crammed full of people all the times. And it can be, but you just have to hit it at the right time. So if you're not going on the trains for a work commute, if you're just kind of traveling around outside of those times, it seems fairly fine to me at that time, way back then, and now as well. When I finally started to feel that it was, I can understand kind of the crush was when I was going to Japanese school and I went kind of for 9 o'clock, and then it was like, wow, yeah, you really get crushed on those trains. But I don't know. I just thought it was very, very interesting. Japan. It was really cool when I went. That's about all I can remember. What career path would you advise someone who wants to have a life in Japan? Sorry, my thing got moved, so I can't see it anymore. Since it's hard for foreigners to get a specific job, I don't have very good career advice because I worked online. I didn't have to I guess work in a Japanese workplace, make a living over here. I mean, I make a living online. That being said, in kind of Canada, I did this same thing. I didn't work for corporations that much. I always worked kind of on my own, so it's really hard for me to give advice. I think Chris Okano, he's giving some advice on his channel about working in Japan, so maybe I suggest doing that. So camera is laggy, eh? Video is laggy, and I see it kind of in my OBS Studio that's laggy. I don't know how I can... Let me just see if I can adjust. No, I can't adjust the video. That kind of sucks. That really sucks. I can't change that out. Sorry, guys. I don't know if I can actually start and stop my stream if it... Let's see here. Wow, okay. I'm going to do something risky here. I'm going to start and stop the stream from the OBS Studio side, and it hopefully it just continues back on this stream or on this without having to do another link. So we'll see. All right, so I started and stopped. Let's see if this works. Are you seeing me again? I'm typing this. Let's see if this works. Good? Is that good? Yeah? Better? Okay, okay, okay. Oh my. I'm such a noob at this. My goodness. Okay, okay. So let me try to get back to the questions. Oh boy. Okay. Ocarina is a wind instrument. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. What is the best way to exchange USD to Canadian and Canadian to yen without getting slaughtered by fees? ATMs. I looked really hard into this, and as long as your bank allows you to use international or ATM in Japan, which I believe it should, then you're good. And you can get them at any 7-Eleven. They have international ATMs as well as Japan Post. It'll usually ding you about 2.5% plus whatever fee your bank charges, which in Canada it's about $5. That is the answer. And you can usually get about 100,000 yen, which is roughly equivalent to $1,000 at a time. Okay. So now I know if it starts lagging, I can just stop my OBS Studio, restart it, and that'll work. So in case you guys are ever doing this yourselves, try that. All right. Wow. Okay. I'm just scanning through here. So many questions. What is it like to live in a big metropolis like Tokyo? I made a video about this on the Life Where I'm From X channel, and I called it something like Big Cities or Little Towns, Tokyo. It's not as, I don't know, claustrophobic or as metropolis-like as one might imagine if you've never lived in a really big city. I feel like I live in a small neighborhood, and since the kind of a lot of people, you get to know people living around. So if I'm walking around town, there will be parents and other people that will recognize me more so than in Canada. So I was kind of surprised by that. So I think it's pretty good. And I get out to the parks or to riverbanks and stuff to kind of get some more open space when I want it or need it. So I like it. When you get your haircut, how do you explain how you want it? I've been going to the same hair cutting place for a long time. I think like 15 years, because even before I moved to Japan, I would visit and I'd go to the same place time after time. And I mean, my wife must have helped me the very first time or two, but then after that, they got to know me, and I don't even say a thing. Really, I just walk in and they know what I want, and my hair is always the same, if you haven't noticed. So that's how I do it. Probably now I could figure out how to do it because I can speak enough Japanese to say what I want. But honestly, if I think if you didn't speak much Japanese, or even if you did, I think probably an easy way is to just bring a picture of what you want. What did you do when you lived in Canada? Oh yeah, I answered that. I'm getting my bachelor's in computer science. I either want to be a video game programmer or software programmer. Do you think it's worth moving to Japan and working for a company? In my working in Japan video, I did an interview with Yuta, the Japanese man Yuta, and he worked in that field. I don't think he had a computer science degree, as far as I remember, but he did work in software development, and he said there was a huge demand, especially, but reading like Reddit subreddits about Japan, there's also, it feels like a very hit and miss. So if you can get work, say, in North America or Europe in that industry, you will be paid better and probably have work in better conditions than in Japan. But I think in Japan you can find a job because that is in high demand, and the programming is, I think, as far as I know, English is the language for the base language for programming. So you can get away with lesser skills in Japanese than, say, in other areas. Yeah. Can I make a video about non-Japanese people working in Japan? I probably won't anytime soon because, I have, and it's being edited right now, but I primarily interviewed people who are using Japanese in Japan. So these are positions where you need to know Japanese. I have a mix of both native Japanese people as well as a few, I guess, foreigners. But yeah, I'm doing that. Otherwise, for people who are coming from a Western background, I think there's so many YouTube videos out there from people giving that experience that I wouldn't add much to it. How have I changed since moving to Japan? That's a good question. I have to really think about that and maybe make a video about it. That's a good question. Because I'm so used to living here now that it's kind of hard for me to think about what I used to be like or what I used to think like. I think I'm more accepting of kind of like the group consensus to just kind of go with whatever other people are doing, like not get wound up about things in that way. Like in Canada, if you don't like something, you can be vocal about it, speak up, and that's just how we do stuff. In Japan, it's less so. So I think that's probably one of those things. I think I'm also just maybe making videos as well about social topics. I'm becoming more of a proponent for doing things for the greater good of the general public, right? So not just thinking about what's good for me, but what's good for society, and not even just like Japanese society or my community, but for the world at large. And kind of realizing, what a lucky position I'm in, being actually able to live both in Japan and in Canada, and having either permanent residency or citizenship in these developed countries where, if you're living in a country like Japan or Canada, you're already like in the top 1% of, living conditions for people. So, but specifically in Japan and Canada, we have, I think, really good healthcare systems and education systems and good democracies, rule of law, safety, being able to express yourself freely. So even though Japan kind of, the thing is that, you don't want to like stick out too much and have these opinions, but you're not punished like by the police, by the government for saying things. You can say whatever you want, to a certain degree, as long as it's not hate speech. But in certain countries you can't get away with that kind of stuff. So I like the freedom of that. Now let's see here. Ooh, so many questions. Wow. Okay, so I'm skipping a bit. Sorry. Have I thought about doing a comparison between homeless people in a city like Toronto versus Japan? No, not. I think kind of part of my videos is, the very first one was comparing, North America's homeless to Japan. So I don't think I'd do another one specifically, especially since I'm not going to be traveling to North America anytime soon. I think I've made, 5 or 6 videos on the topic about homelessness in Japan. So I think that's enough for me for now. Ninja Monkey. Hey, Ninja Monkey. You made a top J vloggers and choose you as the Lifeform from channel. Totally different perspective to other channels. Oh, thanks. Cool. Awesome. Is a driver's license harder in Japan? So if you're a Canadian, you can just get a driver's license, no questions. Well, you just submit your license to the official, authorities, and you can get your license, no testing required. I think if you're a U.S. citizen, you do need to take the test, and I think it seems to be harder to do than what I remember in Canada. I got it when I was 16 in Canada. It was, I think, fairly easy to get one. I think it'd be even harder now to get it in. It's provincially based, so it depends what province you're in. But Japan, they have driving schools. It'd be kind of fun to try and do it, but I'm also kind of scared to try it in Japan because of, a lot of people fail. So I would hate to fail after driving for so long. How often do you see Bitcoin ATMs, Greg? I don't think I often see them, but interestingly enough, is if you're using a company like, say, Bitflyer, for example, you can go to some convenience stores like Lawson, and you can put funds onto, say, Bitflyer, the exchange, and get it done pretty fast. So I mean, if you go into Lawson, 10 minutes later you'll get an email confirming that Bitflyer has received your funds, and you can buy Bitcoin. So it's pretty fast. Fees are just like, I think it was like 300 yen you have to pay to do that, and then that's it. So it's pretty easy to get Bitcoin in Japan. Yeah. Can you tell us something about time lapses and why we see it less from you? I don't think I don't know. Wouldn't say you see it less from me. I've felt like I filmed quite a few time lapses recently, more so than in any other year is in 2017. There's two ways to do it though. One, you can just record like a regular video and then speed it up. And that's probably how I do most of my time lapses, because I'll just sit there for 5 or 10 minutes and it's just really simple to set up that way. The other way is doing it by taking still photos, and I kind of know a little better about how to take them now, so I'll probably do a few more of them. Like in my Tokyo Rules That Rule Tokyo, I did a few of them and I kind of screwed them up, even though maybe you didn't notice. But yeah, that's the other way of doing it. I don't know, if you want to know anything else, ask again. I'll see if I can answer. Did I get married in Japan or Canada first? I got married in Canada. Yeah. And I don't think there's any big legal difference, because we wanted to live in Canada after we got married. We got married there. And something to note, though, is that if you're planning on getting married, and it depends on your job and income situation and all that type of stuff, and the timing, the by far easiest way is if, say, your spouse to be, your fiance, is coming into Canada on a visitor visa, and you get married in Canada, then your spouse can stay in Canada legally until they get that work visa, then they get the permanent residency. I think it took my wife like 4 months to get the work visa, and then another 4 months to get the permanent residency. Yeah, that's how we did it. I was young at the time, not a lot of money, so doing the fiancé visa seemed a little more daunting to me. It was a very stressful time actually back then. So I don't know, maybe I'll make a video on that one day if my wife lets me. Is entering the workplace in Japan easier with university credentials or experience? Yeah, definitely. I think that's the same for pretty much any Western country as well. Have I ever been to Europe? Yes, I have, but it's been a long time. I think I was 8 years old, I believe, the last time. So almost 30 years ago. Wow. I have family in Britain, so England and Scotland. Popped over to France. But yeah, that's a long time ago. What do you think about visiting Japan and not going to Tokyo? I think that's totally fine. It just happens my wife is from Tokyo, so that's where we have always went to when we visited Japan. I'd visited Japan, I think, 6 times before actually moving here. And I think on like the 5th time, I was just, oh no, maybe on the 3rd time I got out of Tokyo. But generally we stayed in Tokyo because my wife is kind of like a homebody. She likes just staying close to home in the house. That's just what she likes. I like exploring, so I was always eager to go out. So on the last time before I moved to Japan that I visited Japan, I took my little brother along, and we went traveling all around Japan, and I just loved it. It was a really cool trip. And yeah, I highly recommend going around if you can. But I think if you can visit Japan again, then just picking an area to stick in and kind of exploring that area is a better idea than trying to just hit like the 10 top places in Japan, because you'll just be traveling every single day. You're just hitting the highlights, but you're kind of seeing more of the tourist attractions. You're not really getting a feel for what it's like to live in Japan or be in Japan. So I guess that also depends on your goals, right? Like if your goal is just to, have a great time and just try to see like, the touristy best of Japan, then hey, go to all these places. But I found my most rewarding experiences is when I was able to kind of go to a place for a few days and explore. So I went to this place called Amami Oshima, and it's this island south of Kyushu, kind of halfway between Kyushu and Okinawa. And I think it had like 40,000 population or something, or 20,000. And we stayed in a B&B place. That might even be before there was Airbnb. And it was great because we stayed right on the ocean where we could swim. And we just take the local buses around, and we almost got lost a few times, hiked to little places, and talked with a lot of locals because this is a very non-touristy place. So the only time in Japan I've ever felt like a that superstar type of experience was in Amami Oshima, where people would like come up to us and say like, "Hey, how are you doing?" and want to talk with us because it was so rare to see foreigners, and that was kind of interesting and fun. So yeah, but I would suggest, don't try to travel so. Don't spend so much time traveling. Try to spend time in like certain areas instead. How many train lines are there in Tokyo? There's a ton. I don't know. That's a good question. I have to look that up. I work online too, and I'm Canadian. Is there any way to stay in Japan longer than 3 months? Yeah, there is. I want to make a video where I interview an immigration lawyer that can cover not only, I guess, temporarily immigrating to Japan, but I guess both permanently and temporarily immigrating to Japan, and talk about work visas and that type of stuff. I think there's cultural visas you can get onto it, or you can where you can study in like martial arts or something like that, or there's student visas you can do. There's a lot of different ways. Student visa is probably the easiest way to get in because you just study at a school, and you can also work as well, and you can work online. There's no restrictions against that when you're doing a student visa. If you are from the Commonwealth countries like Australia, UK, Canada, you can get a working holiday visa for a year, and I think as long as you're under 30 or 35, and that's a dead easy one to get. Yeah. And this is from Kathy. It's orange. So does that mean you did the super subscriber? Oh wait, there's Schlup from Merck too as well. I don't know, I don't do enough of these live streams to know why it's orange, but I'm assuming it's one of those super subscriber things. So do you know Japanese people watching your videos? I don't think many Japanese people watch the videos. It's only if it gets posted on a Japanese website, and generally it's not good things that they would say, because it's probably from my ex channel, and it's maybe I don't know, something I said, they're criticizing Japan, they're not happy about it, and yeah, that doesn't turn out so well. Japanese, so in public I've never had many bad public interactions with Japanese people. Online, it's a whole different beast, so you can get quite a lot of hate online. And this one's from Kathy Chambers. What's one of your favorite videos that you've made so far, or at least had the most fun making? I think a couple of the funnest ones I've had is when I just traveled around Tokyo. So my Tokyo by Train one on the X channel, and then the Rules That Rule Japan on the regular channel, because I didn't really have a purpose for making those videos. I just wanted to kind of shoot and just see what I got, and kind of think about the story after I started shooting. Yeah, I really enjoyed making those. They're fun, and I'm glad people were receptive to those videos. Yeah, that's what I'll go with. How about that? Let's see here. For the first step to actually move to Japan, what would be the best type of action to take? Ooh, that's a tough question, because I moved with my family, and my wife is Japanese, and we had relatives living over here, and my wife actually lined up a job before she actually came to Japan, and I had tried to line up some online work before coming, so my experience would be totally different from somebody else. So probably that's better if you look around some people vlogging in Japan. I'm sure they have some better advice than I would on that. But maybe I can try to interview some people about it, maybe. Can you do a day on Tokyo buses? Huh. That'd be kind of interesting. Maybe. The Tokyo buses. See, I travel on the buses. I never used to want to before when I first visited, but I travel on buses more. But, I mean, just the trains are probably the majority of way of how I get around, so that's just how I do it. I was thinking about making a video about just public transportation, but all the different modes. So trying to see how many different types I can get on in one day. Like, go on a little, like, row your boat, then go on a ferry boat, then go on a monorail, then train and subway and Ferris wheel, and try to get all these different types of transportation methods. I might do that one day. Is it hard to make a time lapse? No, I don't think it is. I think you just have to. Online tutorials have really good stuff about it. I mean, if you have the right camera, it can be set to automatically take photos every so often. If not, you can probably get I think it's called intravolometer, that can be timed to do the time lapses. Best is to look online, especially in type in your camera type, and there's probably some tutorials. There's tons of stuff like that out there. What kind of credentials are good for teaching English besides the university degree? I think that's really the basis of all you need. Otherwise, I think there's like some specific teaching certificates. Again, that's probably really easy information to get online, so I won't go more into it than that. Yeah, John from Olean Japan has a video about getting a license in Japan. I saw one of his Instagram post about it, so I knew he was getting it. Let's see, collaborations internationally, me or Angela. Nothing planned. No collaborations planned with anybody anytime soon. Although, that being said, I did film her about working in Japan, so she will be in one of the videos. I think maybe this month, actually. It's February in Japan. Oh, no, wait, it's not February yet. Yeah, she'll be in one of the videos soon enough, I guess. So, yeah. What about doing a video on what keeps Japanese grounded in their heritage and not trying to be like everyone else in the world? That's an interesting question. I don't know if they specifically try to be Japanese or not, honestly. I think... I think they're becoming more globalized as time goes on. That's something that I would have to say. English is, it seems more popular than ever, especially with Olympics coming, and there seems to be a huge push for English, and with tourism is more popular than ever as well. So more people from different countries coming to Japan. I think they're becoming more globalized. But at the same time, Japan, I feel, it's kind of like in its own bubble as well, more so than other countries, because probably of the Japanese language. In comparison to, say, Canada, or I'll just speak for Australians or people from UK, like other English-speaking countries, or even other countries where people speak English as a second language. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people from Europe on this viewing the videos. I know from looking at my analytics that there are. You speak English as a second language and do it quite proficiently, and therefore you can consume a lot of English media, whether it's podcasts, YouTube videos, Hollywood movies, and American television shows. So you're getting a lot of the same culture in real time, really. So that you're not really behind the times anymore, and with the internet. So I guess you're more like kind of tuned into the, I don't know, at least I'll say the English culture a lot more so than the Japanese are. But yeah, it could be kind of interesting to think about like what keeps Japanese, what keeps them following the traditions. Probably, if I had to answer, it would be the nationalization of a lot of services. So the Japanese government, centrally, they are in control of the education and the healthcare system. And I think because of that, people grow up learning the same things and expecting the same things. Where in, I'll just say like a country like United States, where it's 50 different states, and each state is in charge of their own education and their own healthcare, and it's a lot more fractured. That I think there's a lot more similarity between somebody in different parts of Japan, different prefectures, to each other than there are between Americans from different states, you know? Okay. Let's see here. I got like 5 minutes left or so. Oh, it's orange when they at you. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, so that's a kind of like a easy way to get my attention is if you at me. What webcam am I using? I'm using, I think it's the Logitech C920. Sharpest live stream. Oh, that's cool. That's good. Before it was the laggiest live stream you had seen, so now it's the sharpest. My wife is native Japanese. We live in the USA. What's your advice for making up? Oh wow. Wow. That's a tough question. I can only answer this in the way I know how, and maybe not hold grudges. I think I just don't tend to hold grudges. That's just not my personality. So even if I think like I want to hold a grudge, probably within a day or two, I'm kind of tired or over of it. Like I can't waste my energy on trying to prolong a fight, you know? Like I'm much happier making up than I am not talking or trying to find ways to fight with someone, whether it's my wife or not. So I don't know. It seems to work for me. Let's see here. I'm heading to Tokyo in April for 2 weeks. Your video is very helpful. Game Taco. Okay, that's good to know. And I should have a video out hopefully this week where it'll be even more helpful. Let's see. Have I tried the Illy Translator? No, I have not. I think Chris Okano just had a video on his channel where he did. Yeah. Could do. Let's see here. What's the current time here? It is 3:57 p.m. Netizens, yeah. Netizens are always the strictest. Do I have anything to say about taking a year in between and going to Japan after you finish high school? Yeah, so actually, what I did is, when I was actually still in high school, I did like a week away from school as part of I think a Canada Terry Fox Center program or something like that. Or it's called Encounters with Canada. I can't remember the name, but essentially you go off for a week and you meet other kids from all over the country, and you learn about, Canadian culture and whatnot. And actually, we did learn a lot about Canadian culture, and just meeting people from around Canada was really interesting because I was from Manitoba, which is a lesser known province in Canada. And it was just nice to kind of get out of your own like little bubble in your city, and you're from your school. You're kind of, and it really changed my perspective and wanted to make me travel. So when I was going to university, I wanted to go on an exchange program, and I was thinking to go to Scotland because part of my family is from Scotland, except I couldn't do my exchange for a couple of years. So I ended up not being able to do that, but I really wanted to just kind of get away from university for a little bit. So I went to a snowboarding trip instead. So I went to Whistler, and that was a really great trip. I think for me, it was such a life-changing experience. And I did end up going back to university and finishing that off, but just, going to a different place, I think I learned a lot and grew as a person. So I would recommend traveling. Maybe one thing that you could do to get kind of the most of your travels is try to do something. So, try to either get a specific job in Japan, so line something up, or maybe do it as part of an exchange program, or maybe like actually go to a Japanese language school. Like try to have some type of goal you're doing. Just you know, because it'll be not only something practical to do, and but also like you'll end up meeting people doing that thing. So, yeah, that's what I would say. And I think it'd be worth it. Toyama, any recommendations for photographic spots? No, sorry. I don't think I've ever been there. Night trains. There aren't any night trains. They stopped running around midnight or 1 o'clock, but otherwise, traveling on train at night's cool. I like it. What's the cryptocurrency scene like in Japan? I've been to a few Bitcoin meetups, but haven't been recently. I kind of got out of Bitcoin for a bit. I was really interested in it, and but I kind of felt like, I mean, if you're investing in Bitcoin, it's essentially like gambling, right? I mean, you only put into Bitcoin what you can afford to lose. I think is the general advice, and I totally agree with that. So I had a bit of Bitcoin, but I sold it off to put a down deposit on my house, and I would have literally hundreds of thousands of dollars if I would have kept that Bitcoin. So am I bitter or regretful? No. But it was funny because I was looking through my transaction history and it said, oh, here's a transaction where it's like $300,000. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. But I think Bitcoin's quite interesting, and I have like fractions of Bitcoin left, so not very much at all. And like, if you're into the scene at all, you know, like how big the transaction fees are. So it's not a practical, like I'm going to go and buy stuff from a store using Bitcoin. Although I think there actually are a lot of places you could technically do it. You just wouldn't. So beyond that, I've stayed out of the literature a lot. So I don't know much more than that. How long did it take you to finish the Shogun miniseries? Not that long at all. I think I way back when Blockbuster was selling off a VHS for like, $5 or something like that, and you got the whole VHS set, watched it with my wife, and probably watched it all in a day. Binged it, and then I specifically bought the Blu-ray. I don't know if you saw it behind my head. It's here, just for my bathing in Japan video. And I had to buy a Blu-ray player just so I could rip it. That's how dedicated I wanted to have decent footage on that video. So, and then I've never seen another Blu-ray since. Actually, no, that's the lie. I lied. So the only other Blu-ray I own is. Actually, it doesn't even say the title, does it? Do you guys know what this is from? Maybe if I open this up, you'll be able to tell a bit better. Probably my favorite anime movie. I was cleaning something and got sliced. My finger. Yeah. Yeah. So, let's see here. I'll answer a few more questions and I'll probably take off. Oh, good night, Wolf. Yeah. What do you think of NHK's Begin Japanology series? I like the series. I think actually one of the reasons I did not make videos is because I thought, what can I do better than Japanology? But one of the things is that, I mean, it's produced in a certain way. So you're getting a certain perspective, and they're not going to tackle the more negative sides of Japan. It feels like it's really a pro-Japan type of safe, series of videos about Japanese culture. And I'd probably say my videos are similar, but I mean, Japanology probably wouldn't make a video like I made about smoking in Japan, or they wouldn't make a video about maybe the homeless in Japan like I did. So they won't cover topics in a certain way. So I feel it's a little too set up for me, and that's why I make the videos I do. Do you think there's a mind change about the environment protection rising up? I think the Japanese environmentalism, like the awareness, is less than it is in Canada. I feel in Canada, especially on the West Coast, there's a lot of environmentalists, or at least the ones that are very vocal about it, and they're very active in it. So in kind of theory, Canadians are much more environmentally aware than the Japanese. In practice, the Japanese are more environmentally friendly than Canadians, because I've done some studies of energy usage and just space usage, and Canadians are gluttons when it comes to that type of thing. Australians as well, from the stats. You know, we just use more water, live in bigger homes, use more energy, drive more, all that kind of stuff. We're just used to a certain lifestyle where resources, I mean, depends what resource we're talking about, but I'll just speak to Canada. I mean, we have lots of water, clean water, lots of energy, lots of space. So we used it. So that's where we're coming from. And I think, some people are very aware in Canada and they try to minimize their footprint. And I was trying to do that when I lived in Canada. But I think we're kind of entitled, honestly. Like, because you don't see a different way of living, right? You're just so used to people having so much space in your households that you're used to. I mean, if you grew up in Canada, like at the same time I did, so I grew up as a kid in the 80s and 90s, and people had their bungalows with the basement, and the basement would be kind of like the rec room for the kids or something like that, and you'd have big backyards, and you're just used to that, and so the thing that I really like about Japan is they're so used to living in cramped spaces. Like, if you could see what I see now, I just see like tons of tops of roofs because we're just so tightly packed in. And I really like that about Japanese, is that they've learned to live in very small spaces and comfortably. So I think there's a lot to learn that Canadians can learn from the Japanese, and that's why I made videos about housing, and I'll make videos about energy usage and other things. Okay, let's see here. Are you, or do you know anyone available to hire for a day for tour guiding? I've actually thought about this, because the thing about making these videos is, or even like doing a live stream like this, there's no way I make any money from doing, I get support from Patreon users, right? So that's how I'm, I guess, making money from doing a live stream like this. But in general, if I do a live stream, I would never make the money back from doing the live stream, versus if I actually worked making a video for a business. Like, I generally make way more money if I just didn't make a video for YouTube, for the Life Where I'm From channel. If I just made a video for a business, I'd make way more money. So I thought, like, how do I diversify my income streams? And I thought, it'd be kind of fun to tour guide people around, but I never kind of even started with that because I just felt honestly kind of guilty, because I've met up with people in the past, and I still do every once in a while, and I've never would think to charge people for that, because I don't know, like, because if they're paying for me, then that just feels really weird. So weird, like when I'm filming for a business, I'm filming because they're paying for my skills making videos, and I know they'd have to pay another business that type of money, and I don't know, it just seems justifiable to me to do that. But to have somebody to pay for me to tour guide them, I feel it'd have to be so expensive. I have to charge so much money to make it worthwhile for me to do it, that it just, I don't know, it'd feel like I have to charge quite a few $100s, for a day to actually make it worthwhile to me. Yeah, so I don't know, I just never felt good to do, but I kind of thought, and it's funny because somebody wrote to me suggesting why don't I make a video series, taking people new to Tokyo around, or new to Japan around, and I've thought about this for like a year or two now to kind of do that, and I thought, if I could get a sponsor to sponsor me, like some type of local tourism agency where, like I tour guide people around Japan, I think that'd be kind of fun, because I like seeing people's reactions coming to Japan, their initial reactions to Japan. It's kind of interesting. So if I could get a sponsor for that, I'd totally do it. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. Can I hire you for a day to show me and my kids around? Yeah, so I guess I was just talking about this. I don't think so. I don't think so. Um, yeah, but I don't know. It could be like honestly. So the thing is, I do YouTube. That's all I do right now. I stopped working for other things from the summer onwards. So it's been like half a year now, and I think it's super super risky because I don't do sponsorships. I really I've only done one, I think, and that was one in Canada. And before that one, it was one in Oshima where I got like really, really minor sponsorships. So I don't do sponsored videos, and I don't really, unless you get the right ones, I don't plan on taking a lot of them. And so I don't get paid really for videos besides the AdSense revenue and whatever the Patreon supporters support. And I don't think that's a good plan, honestly, to support a family. I'd advise anybody against it. But I just wanted to focus on the videos, so that's why I did it just for the time being. And I've been able to get by so far, but I think it's very risky. So I kind of want to diversify my income, but yeah, I don't know. If I could figure out a decent way to do it, I probably would because I kind of think it's fun and people would get stuff out of it. But yeah, I don't know. I'll just waffle on it a little bit. So if you want to contact me personally, like go to mylifewhereimfrom.com and there's a contact page there. Contact me. You can ask me about it. I might, think about it. But yeah, we'll see. Have you heard of Planetize, Japanese travel ads? They have short 1-minute clips of attractions. No, I haven't. Anyways, I got to get going. It was really enjoyable answering all your questions. That's one thing I like about the viewers is you guys, I think you're a pretty good bunch of people asking nice questions. And because I read the comments on other YouTube videos sometimes and they just kind of get crazy. So yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. And I think I might try to do this once a month. So we'll see. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Now I just need to know where's the stop streaming button. Oh, here it is.